Hi there. Today, we're going to explore the Statistic Collector tool in FlexSim. Now, you might be wondering, why do we even need this tool? After all, FlexSim already provides inbuilt statistics for each object, and you can easily visualize these using the dashboard. Plus, there are plenty of dashboard templates available. You may also have noticed something called base chart types in the dashboard options, and perhaps you've wondered how to connect them to your own custom data. The answer to both of these questions is the Statistic Collector. So, what exactly is the Statistic Collector? In simple terms, it's a tool that gathers data from the objects and events you choose during a simulation run. As your model runs, the Statistic Collector listens to those objects and records the information into a table. You can then use that table for model analysis. If you ever need unique or customized data from your model, the Statistic Collector makes it easy to capture it. Once you've collected the data using Statistic Collector, you can visualize it with various chart options in FlexSim, transform the data using the Calculated Table tool, or even export it to external programs like Excel or Tableau. The Statistics Collector is primarily a table that records data from the model. So it is similar to a global table. Think of it this way. Global tables are usually used to store input data, the information your model needs to operate. Statistic collectors are used to record output data, information about your model's behavior while it's running. So, you can think of global tables as input tables and statistics collectors as output tables. The Statistics Collector listens to events in the model and writes data in its table cells when those events occur. You can configure which events the Statistics Collector listens to, as well as the data that it writes with those events. Each event specifies a row value, and the Statistic Collector uses that to place the data into the correct row of its table. Let's walk through a simple example. Imagine you have items, or trucks, arriving at an inbound station. There are 5 different item types. To model this, we'll start with a source object and assign a label called type to each item. Our goal is to track the content level for each item type. You could do this with a pre-built dashboard content template, but we'll use a Statistic Collector instead. First, add a Statistic Collector from the Statistics section of the toolbox. Next, we need to add an event. In this case, we'll choose the onEntry event for the Q object. Whenever an event in this list occurs, the Statistics Collector creates an entity called data. This entity has information about the event such as which object fired the event, and the name of the event. For the row value, we'll use the type label from the item, written as data.item.type. Here, data.item refers to the flow item, and type is the label we created earlier. Now, let's add 2 columns in the Columns tab. First one is type, with the value data.item.type, and the second one is quantity. Here you can set to increment data value. So when the item enters to the queue, corresponding quantity value will be incremented. We can specify when to update this column. In our case on the item entry, we are updating both the columns. By default, new rows are added at the end of the table, but you can sort them, for example, by the row value. You'll also see 2 other tabs. Triggers, where you can add specify logic for each of the Statistics Collector's triggers. Labels, where you can attach labels to the Statistic Collector object. Finally, in the General tab, you can watch your table update live as the simulation runs. After clicking Apply, the table will start recording data automatically. If you need it outside FlexSim, use the Export Table button to save it as a CSV file. Once your Statistic Collector is ready, you can transform its data with the Calculated Table tool for further filtering or formatting. Then, you can link it to a base chart template. For example, add a bar chart template. Connect it to your Statistic Collector. Select the title, labels, and columns, and you'll instantly see how your collected statistics change over time. And that's it. You now know how to use the Statistic Collector tool in FlexSim to capture, transform, and visualize data for your models. Happy simulating!